I'm just trying to make sure that what's happening.
Hi, Loretta. Good evening.
Feeling that I Hi everyone, can you hear me?
Yes, yes, we can.
Can you hear me? All right. Okay, so we're recording now. All right, thank you very much. I want to introduce our speaker. Zanas, I'll try to pronounce your full name. Zanas Emadamo. No,
Can everyone confirm they can hear me, please?
hi everyone, okay. Can we hear me? Hi everyone, good evening. All right. All right. I'm back. I think all right. I think I'm back here. Okay, let me just go on with the. Okay, let me just go on with the. Okay, let me just go on. Okay, let's just. Um, so Zanas is a social media strategist, digital marketer, and author of your social media framework, a guide that helps entrepreneurs and creators cut through the noise of social media and build intentional, results-driven online platforms. Over the past 4 years, she has developed and led strategic digital campaigns for brands across industries, helping them strengthen visibility, refine their messaging, and build more effective content ecosystems through social media strategy, content marketing, email marketing, and influencer partnerships. She's the creative director of the Social Z, a platform dedicated to helping purpose driven entrepreneurs and creators show up online with clarity, strategy, and authenticity. Through her work, Zanas is building a body of thought leadership around digital visibility and brand presence, empowering individuals and businesses to approach social media with greater confidence, structure, and purpose. So, if you're excited about today's session, can I just see a thunderous ovation as we welcome Zanas? I'm truly excited for her session and all that we'll be learning from her. So, can I just see everyone give a round of applause? Zanas, you can have the floor now. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Before I go on, I just want to confirm that everyone can hear me clearly. Okay. Okay, great. So everyone can hear me. It's very lovely to be here. Thank you very much for the warm welcome. Yeah, that was a brief introduction about me. I've been a part of YSB for about 2, 3 years now, and I'm very grateful to be here. Thank you very much for the invite, and to be very, very happy to be here. So now for this topic, I feel like there is no better time to speak on this topic than now in this present social media sphere where the importance of social media and content creation especially has been emphasized more than ever before. We are seeing people get opportunities from social media just from sharing their stories. We are seeing their lives being changed. Just the other day, there was a story of a lady who shares how she gets to work, and just by her filming that moment every day, her waking up very early, she was able to get um, a transportation allowance added to her salary. And so we are seeing in real time content changing the lives of people. And even as all of this is going on, there is also the second hand of it, where because of all of this buzz and all of this noise, people are going into content creation, not having a clear plan. All they know is that they want to go viral. They want to be the next big thing. They want to be the next viral thing, but they don't have a plan on how to do it. They don't know which boundaries not to cross. They don't know how to present themselves. And so what you see is a lot of people just misusing opportunities, and rather than using social media as a platform for growth, their social media presence is now working against them. So in that type of situation where now again it's like this thing is like this next big thing, everybody wants to become a content creator. How do you do it in a way that actually aligns with who you are, where you are going to, and in a way that works for you, not against you? And so this is a brief introduction of me, which we've already gone into. Already gone into this, so let's dive right in, which is the real problem. So a lot of people assume that their problem is content. So you see a lot of people, they just believe it's just numbers. So you even see it sometimes, some creators, they'll tell you, just post more, post more, post more. But that's numbers is not the only thing. You can post 50 videos today, right? And if there's no alignment, if there's no structure, if there's just random things, trying this one tomorrow, trying that one tomorrow, you will not attract a solid audience. Yes, maybe one of those posts might by chance go viral, but you find that the audience that come in will not stay, and they will not be connected to whatever purpose you have. And so the real challenge is not that you don't know what to create. A lot of people will say, okay, I don't know what type of content to create. It's just that it's not as if you're out of ideas. You don't know where to start from. You have not built that back end structure. Before you see anybody on camera today, people who have successful brands, who are very intentional about their brands, people like Funke Akindele, or even content creators like Salem King. It may look random, but a lot of work has gone into putting that idea. There's a pathway. You'll see that someone is launching a product. They launched a product today, and you'll see that up to 3 months ago, there were content on their page. There was content on their page hinting at that particular product. Everything is planned. Everything is strategic. And so rather than putting in effort, posting content and just saving random ideas, or let me try this one, this topic is trending, let me speak on it, and it's not related to anything you're doing, that's where the struggle comes in. That's where you see a lot of people starting and stopping a game. They'll open an Instagram page, they'll say this one is for this particular niche, they'll post videos there, they'll get tired because it's also not a very easy thing. And so if you don't have a drive, if you don't have a purpose behind it, you're going to get tired quick. And so they get tired, and then they'll come back again months later and say, okay, let me try this other thing. And so that's where the struggle is, because you're just opening the camera, recording moments, and you don't know what the end goal is. You even see people saying that, oh, they have created clips of their life, but they're not sure how to put it together into a vlog. The people that you see that have successful vlogs, behind that vlog is a story that they want to tell. And so if there's no purpose or story behind what you're sharing, it's going to be a struggle to even come up with the final content that people are going to see and enjoy and follow you for. So this is what clarity actually looks like. Clarity goes beyond simply choosing a niche or picking a topic. A lot of the times on social media, when you ask for advice, they'll say pick one niche. But it's not even about picking a niche. There are a lot of successful people who don't have just one thing they are doing. And so when I thought of using an example for this, I thought of Pastor Laju Iren. She's a pastor and she's also a filmmaker. So someone like her cannot have only one niche. Someone like her cannot just talk about one thing. Well, because she's many things all in one. There are some times where her filmmaker, right now, she currently has a movie out, and so we're seeing a lot of her being a filmmaker. We're seeing a lot of her promoting movies during periods like December, where there are a lot of camp meetings. The church where she's pastoring at is also having their own camp meeting. In that particular sphere of her life, you see that her being a pastor is taking the forefront, is taking the lead. And this is the same way for a lot of people. Funke Akindele, she's an actress, but she also has the creative blueprint. And now she's also a mentor for people who want to go into the creative space. And so you see the different type of content along those lines. She's also even into land. I just remembered, yes. She's also a property owner. I believe that she has her own real estate company. And so you cannot ask someone like her to pick a niche and to pick a topic. And I think that this is even one thing that keeps a lot of people boggled in their mind, and it keeps them down. Like, I can't think of one thing. I can't think of one thing. I can't settle down on one thing. And so they have that decision fatigue where there are so many options in front of them. They are trying to choose one. And because choosing one is so difficult, they choose nothing at all. And so they don't have a page. But clarity is not about just choosing one thing. It's about having a direction. It means being clear on the message you want to be known for, so your content does not feel scattered. So what does this mean? If, for example, you're a student, right? And while being a student, you're also a business owner for a particular business, but you also want to document your journey as a student. Let's say, for example, you're very excellent in class, and so you can decide to come up with a series, Come With Me As I Prepare for My Exams, where you share, what you do to be successful at your exams, and also prepare for your exams, also giving your audience tips who are probably in 100 level, 200 level, rather than you who has already been past that stage. So you're giving them tips on, oh, this is how you can be successful at exams. And even while you're doing that, you're also marketing your business. Let's say you have a side hustle where you sell books or journals or some sort. And so you're also marketing your business. Then you cannot say, oh, because you want to produce this content for your exam period, you're going to let your business fall to the ground. So clarity does not mean choosing one thing. It's knowing that if you are doing two things, you know what purpose it is for, you know what purpose this one is for, you know what purpose this other one is for, and you also know how to intertwine them together. So let's say, for
Um,
example,
Hi Zanas. Sorry,
hello.
someone left a comment saying the slide is not moving.
Oh, all right. Let
The
me
slide is
let
not,
me take a look
yes,
at it.
thank you.
Okay, thank you. I'm still explaining what is on this slide, so I'm just keeping it
Okay,
here.
that's fine.
Thank you. So it's knowing, okay, you want to have two different ideas, so there are two different expressions of you. There is the one that is excellent in your studies, and showing that part of you can lead you to international opportunities, global talent visas, scholarships, and whatnot. And then there is the part of you that is a business owner and has this particular business, even if it's not even a journal. So for the journal example, maybe while you're studying, you know you show yourself using those journals to study. If, let's say, it's a jewelry brand, while you're studying, you have those necklaces on, those earrings on, those bracelets on, and so you're trying to find a way to make it connected, and to make it connected to your audience, the people you are speaking to. So this is what clarity is. Clarity is choosing a pathway, even if it's not just one thing, but being clear on that specific pathway, knowing how to balance it, knowing how to incorporate all the expressions of you, and also understanding who exactly you are speaking to. So your content feels very specific instead of general. So, for example, using PL now as an example, Pastor Laju, when she's making videos for her film, she's a Christian filmmaker, yes, but when she's making content for film, it is not there that you see her preaching. Why? Because she's speaking specifically to people who enjoy films, who enjoy cinemas, probably filmmakers like her for support, investors as well, who are on the lookout to invest in these films, partnerships, collaborations. She's speaking directly to them. And so she knows that in that particular moment, the part of her that will take expression is the part of her that is knowledgeable about film, that can explain the script, the storyline, and all of that. And then when it's time for, let's say on Saturday, she posts a particular sermon, a sermon snippet, or an invite for church on Sunday. She knows that at that particular time, she's speaking to believers or even people who are non-believers, but people who are trying to come into the church circle, come into the church space. And so that's the difference. And so although she's so how she incorporates both of those now is that she's a Christian filmmaker. And so you see that in certain moments while she's speaking about film, you see that she mentions her faith, even in the storylines of her scripts. Faith is mentioned, and even when she has her interviews while marketing the script, that's an angle that she can use. That, oh, this is a faith-based film. And when she's in church, she can just use an example or a storyline from her filmmaking industry as an example to illustrate a certain topic. And so those are ways she incorporates her different expressions while still keeping them separate. And I started here by saying that I started here because of this, because a lot of advice online always comes down to choose one niche, choose one niche. And I know that for a lot of people now in this time and age, they are not just doing one thing, they have multiple expressions, they want to do multiple things. And so there's always that confusion on how to balance it all. So this is clarity. Clarity is not just choosing one thing, it's knowing the particular things you want to focus on and then how to go about it, balancing each and every sector and incorporating them when there's a chance. Another even a good example to point to this is the Global Temi, where she has a fashion brand. She also has Lighter Curtains, which is her stationery brand, as well as merch. And then she's also this person known for excellence. She has her books. So you see her, she's going to speaking events, for example. She's carrying her bag from her brand, Tunture, or maybe she's making a video about something. And in the video, she's writing with a journal that she had from her store. And so those are just ways that she incorporates her brand, in a way that's seamless and also looks very planned. So moving on to the next slide. So at its core, clarity should answer one important question. Why should someone follow you and continue paying attention to what you share? Again, in this day and age, I believe that there's a lot of focus on virality, but not a lot of focus on retention. I remember there was this time my friend, she did a trend on TikTok, and that video had over 500 views. And the very next day, 500,000 views, so 500K views. And the very next day, she posted, and her next video has had less than 1,000 views. The very next one, it went back to how it was, 300 and something views. And so those people, they watched the video, but nothing in the video was nice enough to make them stay. It was just something funny that they liked, that they viewed, and then they went away. And so as someone who wants to be intentional about the type of content that you create, your focus should be retention. It should be retention, not just virality. Yes, you have to catch them, but when you've caught them with hooks and all of that, and all the things that you see online, vlogs and all of that, what will make them stay? What will make them continue paying attention to you? Imagine if someone, and this is where the balance comes to play. Imagine if someone followed your page for a particular reason, and then the very next day you're talking about something else. On the third day, second day, third day, fourth day, you've not spoken about anything in relation to the reason why they followed your page. They are going to click on follow, or they will just be there and they will be a dormant follower. They will not be engaged in your page. They will not be engaged in anything you are doing. And so it's very important that whatever you are doing on social media, the focus should be retention, not just attention and virality. So why should they continue paying attention to what you share? Is there going to be a consistent pattern across your content, or is your content just vlogs and just vibes? And there's nothing wrong with documentation. There are some people, they'll say that they're just on social media to document, to have fun, and that's very beautiful too. It's very lovely. But I feel like if content is something that you are intentional about, which it should be, there should be a plan. Even your documentation can look like a story. Your documentation can make people fall in love with you. There's a content creator, I believe his name is Tobe, and he goes to different places, and he just covers in Nigeria. He visits there, and he just covers, the environment, the scenery, tells the story about it. And it could possibly be that that was just a passion that just started out randomly, but because of the fact that he has done it so consistently, he's now known for that. He's now known as someone who goes to different places in Nigeria and explore them, and then shows for the natural and wildlife of Nigeria. And so, if you're intentional, even in your little moments, it pays off in the future. I'm a big believer that content is built up. Someone, when you post a video on your page, that particular video may not do well, but the next day, if you post another video and that video does well, when someone comes on your page, there's already a track record that this person has been showing up, this person has been, there for a long time. A lot of the times when I go to businesses page and I want to shop from them, I like scrolling. I'll scroll till like 2022, and I'll just see, oh, how long has this business been here? How long have they been sharing on this particular topic, even when no one was listening? And this is why it's also important to create content today, no matter the amount of followers you have, no matter the level you are. Create content today, like, your very top ideal audience are listening to you. Create audience today in a way that's very specific, in a way that's very intentional. There should be intentionality when creating your content. Why? Because you are building track record. You are not just posting for posting sake. You are building track record. The post that does not pay you today will pay you tomorrow. I've heard of a friend, she had a deal from a video that she made, I think about 1 year before she got that deal. And so you are building track record with every content you make, every video, every post, every carousel. You are building track record. Are there any questions, please, before we go on? Let me check the chat box if there are any questions. Okay, none. Okay, thank you. So now this is, how do you actually build with clarity? I know that sometimes on social media, people use these words as buzzwords. They'll come and they'll say, oh, clarity. They'll say things like growth, and they are just buzzwords. But there is a way to build with clarity, and how, with strategy and structure. I'm a big fan of strategy. I'm a big fan of structure. Even if you don't know where you're going to yet, even if, like I said, all you're doing is just showcasing your journey, I believe that there should be structure to it. A lot of successful social media brands, the brands that have the clearest social media presence, even the creators that you see their posts and it just looks very, very random. There's strategy to it. So I'm a big fan of strategy. And so the very first step to actually taking clarity and using it in a way that actually brings results is with strategy. And step one, start by defining your core message, which is what you want to be known for whenever people come across your content. Notice I say core message, not niche. Your core message must not be your niche. Let's take a look at Global Tammy now, for example. Let's go back to her. She has many expressions, like I said earlier, but from my perspective, her core message is excellence, meaning that in everything she does, even if it's her clothing brand, her stationery brand, her bag brand, Tunture, her denim brand, her speaking engagements, the global climate side of her, in everything she does, there's excellence. And so, what should your core message be? There are content creators where their core message is entertainment. So, whether they are doing vlogs or carousels, they want to entertain people. There are content creators that their core message is lifestyle. And so, they are all they do is just create this lifestyle that people, their audiences can look up to and aim for. Someone like that, I would say, is Amy Okoli. She's a lifestyle influencer. So I can't even pin her down to be known for one particular thing, but I just know that she curates her social media in a way where that you want her life, you desire her life, and so she's a lifestyle influencer. And because of that, a lot of brands flock to her because they believe that if this person uses my product, this person that people look up to uses my product, a lot of others they want to buy into it. They want to buy into it too. Why? Because she has created this image of an ideal lifestyle for herself on social media. And so there are also other people who their social media message is education. So every time you come on their page, you always find something educating, whether it's about content, whether it's about career, whether it's about, any other things. It's education. There are also other content creators where their core message is comedy. So, for example, someone like Jay On Air, for example, he talks about different topics. He does not only speak about one thing. One day he's speaking about career. One day is, mimicking someone on social media. One day he's speaking about church content. You know, but that's just his lifestyle. In every his goal is that in every video that you watch of his, no matter what the topic is, he makes people laugh. You will always laugh, and so decide what your core message is now. Another reason why I don't believe in niching down is because I believe that as individuals, we will always grow, we will always merge into different things. What you are today, you may not do it 3 years down the line, 4 years down the line. But if you have a core message in who you are, in what your purpose is, you will always be able to express that in different ways. For me, one of my core messages is education. I just always want people to learn whenever they come to my page. I express this through social media. I also share content about career because I am young and I've been able to learn things about career, having stepped into the career field at a very early age. And so sharing that for people who might be in that stage. I just always want people to learn and to do better. And so that's one of my core messages. So no matter what I do in the future, my goal will always be around that. My core message will always be around that. Always wanting people to feel educated, to feel knowledgeable when they leave my platform. So now, step two. From there, you break that message into a few content pillars that guide what you create and keep you from jumping between unrelated topics. Sorry, sorry. See, as human beings, right, especially if you are someone who's very creative, you can wake up tomorrow and you have this crazy idea, you know, and then we always want to just go out of line, do new things, try different things, but content pillars are your guide. And so what are these content pillars now? Content pillars are this is where you break down your different expressions. So let's say you are a business owner, you're also a gym girly, you love going to the gym. Those are your two content pillars now. You're a business owner and you love going to the gym. This is for people who want to create content for themselves, their personal brand, that type of content. So you're a business owner, you also love going to the gym. And so you can create content about running a business, come pick up my product with me type of content, 5 mistakes I made at the beginning of my business that I want you to avoid, 5 things I knew before I went into this particular business. Here's the difference between successful business creators and not good ones. And then the second one, you create content around your gym life. A good example I can think of this, I just thought of right now, is Trisha Bees. Trisha Bees, she creates a lot of content around business and the like. She's very, very known for that. That's one of her major expressions. But she's also the owner of a successful resort. And so when you go to her page, you also see a lot of content about Ziba resorts available on her page as well. And so those are her two content pillars, those are her two expressions. And so she's balancing it. She's Ziba Results is one of her expressions, but it's also connected to that because she's a successful business owner. And so people look up to her because of the type of business that she runs, Ziba Results. And so when you decide what your content pillars are, you let that guide what type of content that you create. For the person who I gave an example of, who is a student, I don't know, does anyone want to do a live demo of this? Do you want to say what you do, what your expressions are, what you enjoy, and then we can decide what your content pillars could be? Anyone?
Does anyone want to go? Loretta or Anita self?
Okay, hi everyone. Good
Hi.
evening.
Good evening.
Okay, so just beginning to take content creation very seriously. um, and based off of what you said, the teachings, I think I can relate because I struggled a bit with, not a bit, a lot, with finding my niche and everything in between. So for me, My expressions, I don't know if I'm getting this correctly, but anyways, I think that I focus more on teenagers and talking to. I usually would say that my content is a bit of, let's say, transgenerational, though I talk to the younger folks more than I'll talk to the elderly ones and then parents. So my content is usually around that. And then also, you would see content around my faith, what I believe, and who I believe in. So I think that's it for me. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing. So I'll say your content now, it can even be divided into three content pillars. So you stated in the beginning that you speak to parents as well as to kids. So you can create content directed specifically to parents. A lot of Gen Z parents, quote unquote, nowadays, they're coming into this, you know, they're becoming parents, younger parents. They don't want to be like the older generation that said that they did them wrong. And then they're also trying not to make mistakes as well. And so that can be your very perfect target audience. And even while speaking on that, you bring in faith, you bring in your faith values. There are lots of Bible verses on, you know, raising a child. So for example, you can create one content video that dissecting the Bible verse that says, spare the rod and spoil the child. What does this actually mean? Is this against, you know, beating children? Is this supporting beating children? And just breaking it down, speaking to teenagers who are on the internet, you know, guiding them on that, and also speaking to parents as well. And so you can create a particular video today for a parent that, do you know that this particular way you're speaking to your child is, you know, raising them the wrong way? Do you know that, oh, in trying so hard to move away from what you experienced as a child, you know, you're putting on your, what word will I use now? You're bringing your experiences into your child, and you know, it's affecting them negatively. You can create content around that. And then speaking to teenagers, you can create content around topics like, oh, how to respect, you know, how to respect your parents, what the Bible says about being a good child. The Bible, you can highlight topics like the Bible verse that says, you can literally just go and pick 5 Bible verses right now about, you know, what it means to raise a child from the Bible perspective. Create a series on that. This is what it means to raise a child from the Bible perspective. The first one, honor your father and your mother. That one is speaking to teenagers. Another one, spare the rod and spoil the child. That one is speaking to, you know, parents. I'm trying to think of other Bible verses now that speak to that. um there's even this, you can even bring up the topic of Abraham and Isaac. Abraham going to offer up Isaac, you know, bringing that up, linking that to, connecting it to modern day terms, like how Isaac even going up the mountain, knowing that there was no sacrifice, was obedience on his part as well. Because he very obviously knew that him going back and, you know, laying down for Abraham to tie him, that was obedience on his part as well, you know, highlighting examples of obedience for children. And so I think that you can divide your content into 3 different areas and also connect it. So content directed to parents, also content directed to teenagers, because honestly, a lot of teenagers are on social media nowadays, to be honest. I think from 16, 15, some of them already have phones, you know. Creating content speaking to teenagers, creating content about your faith, and then involving that faith perspective into these other 2 different topics. So that's a very good angle you can use.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Okay, great, fantastic. So thank you everyone. Okay, let's move on to the next. Okay, this is where we were. Step 3. Take time to understand your audience more deeply, not just who they are, but what they are currently struggling with and what they need help with right now. This makes your content more relatable and intentional. So again, a lot of the times when they say content, sorry, target audience, who your target audience is, most people don't focus on age, demographic, where they are located. I feel like that type of content or for target audience is only good if you are running ads. I want to target those specific people through ads. But if you are creating content for them, you need to know what they are struggling with and what they need help with. For example, if you're a coach for business owners, sorry, if you're a coach for business owners like Trisha Biz is, she's always speaking to the problems that business owners face. Sometimes when I watch her videos, I'm not a business owner at the moment, but I just gain knowledge for the future, but I cannot relate 100%. But the people who are business owners, they can relate back to back when she's speaking about staff, cheating, how to manage your staff, treating your staff like family. Those are things that business owners have experienced hand on hand, one on one. So she's literally stepped into their shoes, thought about the things that they are struggling with, the things that they need help with, their pain points, what is pinching their soul, what is their ideal goal, well, where do they want to get to? So it'll be very, if someone like her wakes up tomorrow, she can just create it. She can create a content like, this is what is stopping you from scaling your business. And that video will perform very well. Why? Because a lot of business owners, they have the dream of scaling their business, of doing more, but they are not able to. They want to get bigger stores, they want to, have higher clientele in terms of volume and quality as well. And so that type of content will speak to their pain points. It targets their mistakes, which is what they struggle with, and it also targets their goal as well. One thing that really really works that I also use for my content, first of all, the very first step, this works if you are scripting videos, if you are creating a carousel. You start with a pain point, especially if you want to market your services or your skill. You start with a pain point, so that pain point will make your audience feel what they are feeling even more. Sometimes you can be going through something and not really knowing the depth of what you are going through until someone points it out for you. So starting with those pain points, targeting their pain points, will make them really think, I'm really going through this, and then you now go around to present yourself, your service, your offer, whatever you are doing as the solution. You are taking them through a mental journey. You're first of all taking them deep within their soul to really feel that thing very, very well. And then you're now giving them a solution. Immediately they'll buy into whatever you are saying. Immediately they'll support whatever you are saying. Why? Because you are just taking them from where they are now, which is their struggles, to their goal, to their ideal position. So always try to imagine that, what is my audience struggling with right now, and what is that their ideal position, the thing that will be their ultimate goal, that will be their ultimate dream. Always think about it and then let that guide your content. And this doesn't even have to be a very very big deal. If, for example, okay, a clothing brand, for example, you're a clothing brand for, let's say, a specific body type or a specific type of woman, right? Or someone who goes to work, yeah, workwear. And you can just start your video by saying that, by just, someone bringing out scattered clothes. Every morning, you waste time looking for what to wear. You don't know what to wear. Your wardrobe is filled with jeans and basic tops. When you go to work, you're not respected because of how you dress. You just wish that if one brand just understands you well, now we're here. And then you just switch to the pieces you offer, a model on the pieces you offer. Now we're here offering you stylish, classy, presentable, elegant workwear that you can wear to work. It gives you the confidence you need to step into that room. You see, now you're not even selling just that clothes. You're not selling that dress anymore. You're selling a feeling, an experience. They're already imagining themselves in that your outfit, stepping into their boardroom, stepping into their office, and being respected, being highly respected. Immediately they're going to buy. Why? Because they've been looking for that piece for a long time. I am not just putting it on a mannequin for them and say, okay, this is workwear number one, workwear number two. You're telling a story. You're taking them from their frustration point to their ideal dream point. And so really really take time to understand your audience, even if you're just starting out. Even as you create content, listen to feedback. If a video works well, listen to feedback. I noticed that a video I did, where in that video I didn't script it. I just put a camera in front of me. I started talking. I cut out some parts and I posted it. And that video did well than the videos where I script every single word. And so now I want to lean into that direction more of not scripting in depthly, just writing the content direction and then just speaking freely from my heart. Because I noticed that that video performed well. People probably related to it more. They were able to learn a lot from it. And then there was no restriction, probably because I didn't have to cram or memorize the words for my video. And so audience feedback is very important. So just start where you are, do research, start where you are. The more you do, listen to feedback from friends. You can even find someone around you who is the person you are speaking to, who is your ideal audience, and just send them the video. Before I post any video, I will just send it to a few people and just say, look at this thing for me. What do you think of this? And then they say, oh, it's great. Oh, change this, change that. Again, the people you should be going to for this are either people who are they have experience in that particular field, or they are your ideal audience. Then finally, decide the role your content is meant to play. And this ties into the very first step where you choose your goal. This is just where you choose your goal. This is what will guide you when you are tired, especially if whatever you are creating content on, right? You know that is your purpose. There are a lot of people now, they create content, they open a page to create content because they see that something is trending. I saw someone who started creating content on, waking up early by 4 a.m. to go to work, because that particular lady, her video did very well and she became a big deal because of it. And so this person is just copying that particular idea. It's not as if she has she has that particular dream or vision in her heart. And I feel like most of the times people can tell when you're doing something because you want to copy it, or because you've seen that this thing is there's money inside. There's money inside of it, and so you want to dive into it. People can always tell. So decide the role your content is meant to play. This decision is what will guide you on days where you get tired, especially if whatever you're doing is a God-given vision, something that you believe in, something that you have genuine passion for, something that you believe can impact the life of others, and not only impact the life of others. That if you pursue this thing, by you pursuing this thing, you feel you live a very much fulfilled life. If I post a video today about a particular topic and no one likes and no one comments, I'm still very happy. Why? Because I'm doing what is in my heart and what is my purpose in this life. I'm doing it to the fullest of my ability. I rather that I do it, and I decide to be successful at it, rather than just not doing anything at all. So even if at that particular stage, at the beginning stage, this feedback is not great, you know, I'd rather do it because I know the reason why I'm doing it. I'm not doing it for numbers. I'm not doing it for virality. So always decide on your purpose. Decide what your role is meant to play. This will also guide the type of content that you create. The type of content for someone who wants to educate is very different from the type of someone who wants to, you know, entertain. That type of person will maybe do memes, a lot of these short trendy memes, or maybe do vlogs. Someone who wants to educate, a lot of the time they are doing talking head videos where they are speaking directly to the camera. Why? Because they have something to say, they have something to educate their audience on, you know, something that positions you as an authority or convert your audience into clients. This is for someone who is selling either a business or a service. Not everyone is on social media for that purpose, really. Some people they just want to document, like I said. Some people they just want to be known for a particular thing, not really to convert it into money, into sales, but because of the opportunities that they know come with that positioning. This is where you see speaking engagements come to play, some brand influencer deals come to play, like how I mentioned Amy Okoli, because of how she's positioned her life. A lot of these brands like skincare products, hair care products, they want her to sell for them, to market their products. And so this is the framework to turn clarity, knowing what to do, into a working system. Because clarity is just the first stage. Now, how can you make that clarity work for you? Okay, yes, yes, this is my dream, it's my purpose to do this thing. How can you make it work for you? And so this is how, by this four steps, you can make your content work for you. And so this is how you can So this is how you can make your content work for you. And so this is how you can make your content work for you. And so this is how you can make your content work for you. And so this is how you can make your content work for you. And so this is how you can make your content work for you. And so this is how you can make your content work for you. And so this is how you can make your content work for you. And so this is how you can make your content work for you. And so this is how you can make your content work for you. And so this is how you can make your content work for you. And so this is how you can make your content work for you. And so this is how you can make your content work for you. And so this is how you can make your content work for you. And so this is how you can make your content work for you. And so this is how you can make your content work for you. And so this is how you can make your content work for you. And so this is how you can make your content work for you. And so this is how you can make your content work for you. And so this is how you can make your content work for you. And so this is how you can make your content work for you. And so this is how you can make your content work for you. And so this is how you can make your content work for you. And so this is how you can make your content work for you. And so this is how you can make your content work for you. And Oh, sorry. Please, when did you stop hearing me? I wasn't aware.
Oh, welcome back. Okay, so you were explaining how. Oh, Holy Spirit, I need to get your thoughts together. Okay, so you had moved on from Trisha B's, explaining how she uses her page for business, and then we were in the final parts actually. I don't know.
Oh,
Can you
I
hear
just saw
me?
your message. Yes, yes, I can. I just saw your message now.
Yes.
All right. I believe this is where I was, right?
Exactly, you're on this slide. How to actually build, yes. And then you were talking about how that someone who is building as an educator, right, would create a kind of different content from someone who is just trying
Oh,
to document,
yes,
yes,
yes.
building
Okay.
authority and all of that.
Thank you. And so you have to be very intentional with how you create content. You know, before every post goes out, always ask yourself this question. I know that everything must not be a very big deal, but just ask yourself this question. What is this post going to achieve? If someone came across this post, what is the end goal? Will they see me as an authority? Will they see me as someone relatable that they can speak to? If you're someone in a mentor position, this is something that would be great for you. Will they see me as someone relatable that they can speak to? They can step into my DMs and ask questions. You know, even if you're someone who wants to educate and build trust, there are even times where you need to balance it. So it's not every time you're always posting videos of you educating. You can just post a video where it shows the behind the scenes. It shows you as a person. Maybe you went out for a wedding, you went out for an event with friends. It makes you relatable. It makes people want to connect with you, want to connect with where you are, especially if you are selling a particular service. This is very good for um service based providers. So when people can see that, oh, you're just like them, but you've done it right, and so they'll even buy more into the idea that you're selling. And so just always make sure that for every post that you put out, there is a journey behind it, and there is a purpose for it. And so this is how creating content becomes so much more easier. On social media, I don't know, they always make it look like this very big dramatic thing. I think because a lot of people are trying to sell different things and they're trying to push, which is fine. Of course, there a lot goes into it. A lot goes into it. I will not lie. Video editing. I spent yesterday night 2 a.m. to 4 a.m. editing one video. Just one video, right? So a lot goes into it. But I also believe that if you have a strategy, if you have a plan that you are following, it becomes so much easier. You don't have to think every day, okay, on Monday, what will I post today? Monday evening, I said I was going to shop, or I said I was going to shop consistently. What will I now post tomorrow? I don't know what to post. But if you have a content pillar, you have content pillars, you have a plan. You just go back to your content pillars. Okay, this, and this. Pick out two topics from there. Create content on that, and boom, you have your six content for the week, Monday to Saturday ready. And so, just having a plan and having a strategy. I'm a very big fan of structure. Having a strategy behind your content, it helps you show up online. And because content creation has become such a big deal, it literally separates you from the crowd. Because a lot of people are just showing up now randomly. They're just trying things. Which one? Which one will work? Which one will be the next viral post? Then when that post goes viral, they start talking about it, talking about that particular post. So you actually separate you from the crowd. When someone comes on your page, they can tell that, oh, this person is intentional. This is something that they've been talking about for a while. This is something that they have experience in. This is something that they've nurtured, they've built over time. And it really sets you apart and helps you attract the right audience. Because I feel like as the noise becomes more and more and more, people are looking for that calm. They are looking for that structure, that solitude, where it's not like everybody is just want to say one thing, they just want to say one thing, they just want to say something. And so I believe that having a strategy is going to help you set yourself apart from the crowd, and then is also going to help you show up consistently, build consistency over that your one clear message. And so you can just be known for one particular thing. There are people, when you think of social, you think of business. When you think of global team, you think of, excellence. So people can just think of you and think of one particular thing. It can be creativity, and that creativity is not just one thing. It's not just one thing. It's not just okay, you're creative as a writer. You can be creative as a writer, and on your page you have creative videos. On your page you have very creative photos, and so all around, that's the essence of it. You're a creative, but it has different expressions in filmmaking. In the stories that you tell, in the type of carousels that you post, in art, in design, in different things. And so this is how you can make your content become easier and intentional. And it is when you have that intentionality that your content will work for you. I know that social media brings a lot of opportunities, but I believe that you have to be patient to put in the work strategically to be able to attract those opportunities. I want to leave the floor open for questions. We are almost, it's exactly our time. So I just want to leave the floor open for any last minute questions anyone may have. Any questions?
Okay. Hi. So I actually do have a question
Okay.
because this session and the way it has gone, first of all, I want to say thank you very much for everything that you have shared, because I actually used to struggle with picking a niche. And when everybody tells you you have to pick a niche, you cannot just start out like that. And well, I just left social media for everybody. So my question right now is, having identified content pillars and things that I would love to talk about and everything in between, do you have like any growth, should I say growth strategy, or how to actually position oneself? I think growth strategy is actually the right word. Or any growth tips you actually want to share, that okay, if you do this and do that, it will help you be in the faces of the right people
I
and
understand your
all of
question.
that. Yes, thank you.
Understand your question. Thank you very much. I will start by saying that right now on social media, to grow on social media, you need more effort now than ever before. Why? A lot of people are very active on social media. Be excellent in your showing up, because there's a lot of noise, there are a lot of people. So you have to show back to back, and then you have to be very excellent in your showing up. But one thing I would say that would help you achieve targeted growth, not just, growth in numbers, but targeted growth, is looking for where your audience is and engaging with those specific people. So you are targeting them back to back to back, meaning that you're not just looking to go viral, but instead you're looking to go, meaning, okay, let me give a physical example. Someone can grow from 0 to 500 followers today, right? And that can be your goal. But recognizing the space that we are in and the times that we are in, I'm going to be very realistic with you. It may not be achievable in a day, but instead, what you can do is that you decide, okay, I'm going to go from 0 to 100 followers in one day. How am I going to do that? Instead of reaching the aim of 500 followers, I'm going to go from 0 to 100 followers. Today, I'm going to do that. I'm going to look for the spaces where these people I'm speaking to, where they are. I'm going to target them back to back. I'm going to be remember there was one time where I would literally turn on, even now I still have all their post notifications on. I just get tired. Immediately they post, I'm the first to comment. There was one time on Pastor Olushola's post calls. Olushola is a business coach, is a business speaker. And that time I was trying to position myself for business owners, right? Anytime he posts, my notifications are turned on. No matter what I'm doing, I will leave there. I'll be the very first one to comment. I'll leave a very thoughtful comment, something that I know that thoughtful and engaging as well. Meaning that, oh, people will have opinions to this thing. It can get a lot of likes. It can get a few responses, and just, so what are you going to do now? Realistically, open your Instagram account, look for these platforms where these people are on, the people you are trying to reach. You can write out 10 macro accounts, which is 10 big accounts, 10 middle accounts, accounts that are not so big, that are not so small. The macro accounts, they'll never they'll never come to your page, right? But you just want to position yourself there in their comment section, just engage. And people, they actually take notes of these things. So they may never even follow you, but they'll look at your profile. If you're someone that anytime they post, you're already there 10 days. I remember there's a celebrity that just did a wedding. Someone was always commenting on her post, and she DM'd the person and said, "Oh, thank you so much," and all of that. People notice, people watch you, right? So those 10 macro accounts, be there, be commenting back to back to back. Go to the middle accounts, be engaging. Once in a while, they may engage with you back, they may not. Then also go to smaller accounts. Those are the ones that will engage with you back. Why? They're also growing. Also, just start at your level, right? Start at your level. Do not aim too high. These people, I cannot expect Salem King to leave his work and come and comment on my post. But there are people that I know that they'll comment on my post. Why? We are growing together. We are building ourselves together. We have reached a particular stage. We know where we are going. We are collaborating together on different content ideas, on different topics. Even behind the scenes, we have discussions that, well, we check up on each other. So these are the ones that I can rely on, that, oh, if I post something to do, they'll support me, they'll push me. And so I think that's a very good place to start once you decided to be very serious with it. you know Take out 10 macro accounts. It can be more than 10. 10 is just a base level. 10 middle accounts, then 10 micro accounts. Engage with them back to back to back, even on hashtags. Go to hashtags, engage with small creators. You have to understand that there are people who are in this exact same position that you are, and they're your best people to reach. They also want to grow too. They also want to reach a certain level too, and so engage with those type of people. As you guys are engaging with each other, I'm not saying join any pod group. I'm not a fan of pod groups. These are just people that you guys have the same similar interests, meaning that if you share a particular topic, oh, they have feedback on that topic, and then when they share a particular topic, you have feedback on that topic. And so as you guys are pushing yourselves, newer audiences will start seeing you, because that's how the algorithm works. If your page has little content, it's not going to
Good evening, everyone. So sorry. I think I'll continue on platform because I was my computer, my laptop. So I believe that I was saying that look for content creators, who are at the same place as you. Engage with each other honestly. And then on your end, you can also receive feedback. Like I just shared, there's a video I posted. I noticed that my audience, they were much more receptive of that video because it wasn't perfectly scripted. It wasn't even done in a studio. It was just, at a friend's house, and I just decided to film there. and they enjoyed it. They liked that particular video on both of my platforms, which I shared videos, TikTok and Instagram. And so I'm going to take that feedback and implement it. And I saw that there was a comment in the chat box concern what if you've done all this and no followers. So just take all these tips I've used to answer Anita's question and implement it as well. And I would say that as a creator, I don't think that you're followers. That it's not okay, these are the other metrics that you can focus on, showcase the impact of engagement. Reach, say how many people are you reaching, even if your post is not getting, even if you're not getting followers every single day, increasing, you are doing something right. But if those are your goal, implement these strategies and you'll definitely that always work engagement. And now you need it because like I said here now on social, so those ways set yourself apart. So you even build a community of people who are loyal to you. A community of content creators that you can just collaborate on a certain project, can collaborate in everybody's reach. Yeah, and so that's a breakdown. Any other questions? Any other questions?
Okay, I'm not sure that anybody has questions. Okay, I think we've taken all the questions. Thank you so much, Zanas, for this session. Honestly, I have learned a lot. I have learned a lot. Thank you so much. Please, can we put our virtual hands together for Zanas? And let's say thank you. If you can type in the comment section, just say thank you very much for tonight's session. Thank you so much. Honestly, have learned a lot, and I'm sure everybody too has learned one thing or the other, and implementation is very key. Thank you so much for tonight's session. Also for everyone on this call, the recording would be available, so we can always come back to, listen again and again and again to pick one or two things that would help us in our journey as creators. Do you have any closing remarks, Zanas? Anything you want to say before we call it a night?
Thank you everyone for being part of this session. If you have any further questions, I put up my details earlier. You can just reach out to me on Instagram. I'll definitely respond. I'm also on the YSB platform, so you can just search my name, Zanas. I'll respond. And Toby is on this call, but I also want to say a huge thank you to her. It was, it is an amazing privilege. I had a lovely, lovely time here. Oh, thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you so much for honoring us with your presence, and we call it a wrap this evening. Thank you, Queen Praise. Thank you, Queen Loretta, Queen Ade, Queen Princess Swala. Thank you so much. Have a beautiful night rest, everyone, and please do reach out to Zanas if you have further questions or you need clarity regarding this content journey. Have a beautiful night rest, everyone, and thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
joining in. Good
Thank
night.
you. Good night, everyone.
Bye. Thank you. Good night, everyone.
We are done.